So, Bhagavad Gita as it is, conclusion of the perfection of renunciation. Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage to me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So I picked this one because Krishna says, you're my very dear friend. So with that, I wanted to speak. Oh, actually, I had it written here. I wanted to speak about several different pastimes. Starting out speaking about the advent of Lord Jagannath. So you have a nice new camera there. So, for those of you who don't know about the pastimes of Lord Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, as we see here, this form, Lord Jagannath, Baladeva, Subhadra, there are many nectarian stories about the pastimes of Lord Jagannath and how he manifests in this particular way. So I'd like to tell one of the stories now. Many moons ago, there was a king by the name of Indradyumna. And this king, he had heard that there was a very beautiful deity named Nilamadeva. And this Nilamadeva demon, I said demon, I'm sorry, I'm a demon. This Nilamadeva deity was said to be made out of emerald, or he was emerald colored. And he was so beautiful that upon seeing him, you just knew that this is Krishna. You know, you ever see pictures of Krishna where you're like, wow, Krishna's really in that deity. You can really tell So the same way, when you see Nila Madhava, you automatically understood Krishna was there. So he heard about this, but no one knew where this deity was. So he sent out his different, soldiers and priests and different people out, and they went to the four corners of the world looking for this deity. And after searching all over, everyone was coming back empty-handed. No one could find him. The one priest by the name of Vidyapati, he didn't return. He came to a town or a village, and this village, there were the village of Sabaras. Well, there's different ways you can call them, but very Aboriginal people. And he came to a home, and he stopped, to get some water or something, and he met the young daughter of this one pig farmer. And she says, well, you come here and you just wait for my father to come. He'll be back soon. And so when the father comes, he noticed that he smells very fragrant. He's like, wait a second, you're a pig farmer. Why are you smelling so nice? And the daughter revealed that actually he worships this deity named Nila Madhava. So hearing this, this devotee became very ecstatic. He's like, this is what I've been looking for, let me see. And so the father was like, no, you can't see. I can't take you there, it's a secret. And I'm afraid that if I take you to see the deity, you might take the deity away. But eventually, he had convinced Vidyapati to stay and marry his daughter, whose name was Lalita. And after some time, she was able to convince her father, well, why don't you just take my husband to see this deity? He's part of the family now. So her father agreed, but under one condition. I have to blindfold you, take you, because I don't want you to know how to get to this deity. So what they did was the wife actually tied a little pack of mustard seeds to her husband's claw. And as he walked, he was dropping these mustard seeds. And over time, the idea was that those plants would come up and find the deity again. So he went there, and he saw the deities, and immediately he just fell on the floor, offered his obeisance. He could understand that this is Krishna. This is the Krishna, the deity that King Indranuna has sent me to find. In the meantime, the king had went, or the father who was the king of the village, he had went out to gather some different flowers and herbs and things to offer to the deity. And while he was doing that, Vidyapati had noticed that it was a crow in a tree over a lake. He had fell asleep. Crows fell asleep, but he fell asleep and he fell into the lake. And immediately he took on a Vishnu form and went back to Vaikuntha. So seeing this, he's like, well, let me climb the tree and jump into the lake. And as he was trying to do this, a voice came and he said, no, you have to, your service is to take me to King Indranuna. So you can't give up your life just yet. So he climbed down, he waited, and he went back. And he said, well, I have to take leave now. So he traveled back to the kingdom of Indranuna. And he says, well, I found this deity, and I can take you to him because we planted these mustard seeds. So King Indranuna, he came with all of his army and all of his priests and everyone. And they came to the village, and they found the trail of mustard seeds that grew into plants. And they followed it to this cave, and the deity wasn't there. And King Indranuna became so upset, he actually conquered the whole village and took the father as a prisoner. But Krishna appeared to him and says, in a voice, he says, you have to release my devotee, and don't worry, just because I disappeared, I want your worship. So I need you to build me a temple. So he built this temple, what we know now as Jagannath Puri. He built this fantastic temple on a hill. And after doing this, still Krishna wasn't coming. And so Indranuna was confused. Okay, I built the temple, I did everything you asked, why are you not coming? So it said that he actually left and went to the abode of Lord Brahma to inquire what's going on. Maybe you can come and install this deity for me. And Lord Brahma was explaining that because this is Krishna, I can't really install him. He has to manifest himself. This particular deity has to manifest himself. So Krishna again gave him instructions that there would be 3 logs floating in the ocean. And you take these 3 logs, and from there, my deity will be manifest. And so the logs were there. He went to the ocean. He saw the logs. He tried to take them out. They weren't coming out of the water. He got a bunch of elephants and really strong people, and the logs still weren't budging. So Krishna says, "You go and bring my what's his name? You go and bring my my devotee who was from the village, who was initially worshiping me as Nila Madhava. You go and bring him, and you put him on one side of the log, and on the other side of the log, you put a golden chariot, and then I'll come out." So following these instructions, they brought this king from the Aboriginal king, and they brought a golden chariot, and then they started chanting, having kirtan, and then the logs came out. So now they have the logs out. How they make Krishna, how would Krishna come? So a mysterious old man came, and he says, "I can carve your deities in 21 days, but you cannot disturb me." Previously, all the other carvers fell. Their chisels would break and their hammers would smash to pieces when they would try to carve this deity. So a mysterious old man came and said, 21 days, I will have this deity, but you cannot disturb me. If you open the door, it's all finished. I'm going to disappear. So in the Dunda, every day he would come. He would stand outside the door where you can hear tap, 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 little carving going on. So he was happy, okay, Krishna is coming, he's going to manifest. A few days go by, tap, 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 he's hearing. So one day he comes, and it's not the 21 days yet. But he's listening, he doesn't hear any tap. And mind you, this is an old man. So he's thinking, did he die? Like, what's going on? Why is he not? I don't hear him working in there. So he opened the door, he burst through the door. And what he sees is Krishna in this form, like this. He's not completely carved. And in one sense, he's ecstatic because he sees Krishna, but then he's also devastated because he's not completely carved, and the man who was carving disappeared. And he had told him, if you come, I'm going to disappear. So he was thinking, what did I do? I think I made a great offense. Krishna is not complete. How are we ever going to present these deities now? And Krishna came to him and he said, actually, this is my complete form. This is a complete form, and there's a reason why I've taken this form. There's a reason why I've actually come here to bless the world in this form. And so the story behind that is, we all know that Krishna, it said he never leaves Vrindavan, yet we know that he was in Dwarka. Going back to this, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that if you always think of me, come my devotee, worship me, right? This is the highest form of sannyas, right? To completely give our minds to Krishna. We may give our money to Krishna, or our car, or whatever we may be willing to let go of. But are we willing to really give our mind to Krishna and just be completely surrendered? So Krishna, when we are completely surrendered to Krishna, he's also completely surrendered to us. And so the residents of Vrindavan are famous for being completely surrendered to Krishna. And when Krishna was living in Dwarka, he had, 16,000 wives? And his wives they all assembled and they were asking, Krishna, in his sleep, he's always calling out, Radhe, Radhe, Gopi, Gopi. It's like, I am doing everything to please Krishna. I'm feeding him, getting him nice dhoti. And everyone's like, yes, I'm making so much prasadam, and everything is nice. Why is he called? Who is this Radha? Who is this Gopi? And so they got together to try to discuss this, and they asked Rohini Priya. Rohini? Yeah. Asked Rohini Priya. Mata. I say Priya. Rohini Mata. I was thinking about her myself. They asked Rohini Mata, who is this Radha? Who is this Gopi? Why is Krishna always thinking about them in his sleep? We're doing so much to take care of him, And he's thinking about these simple village girls. What are we doing wrong? And so she says, I will tell you, but we have to be very careful, because whenever we start to speak about the residents of Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram, they're both going to come from wherever they are. They're going to stop and they're going to run to this place. So we have to protect our little room where we're getting together. And so they chose Subhadra, who is the sister of Krishna and Balaram. They said, you go and you guard the door. And so she was there to guard the door, make sure Krishna and Balaram couldn't get inside, right? But hearing the nectar of Vrindavan, she wanted to, take part of that pastimes. So she turns, instead of looking out, make sure Krishna and Balaram's not coming, she looks inside to hear the conversation. But, to keep her service, she puts her arms out. Make sure if they come, they can't bust through the door. And so as Rohini Mata starts telling the pastimes, Lady Subhadra, she becomes ecstatic. And her eyes become dilated. And her arms go inside like a tortoise. And Krishna and Balaram, they know that these pastimes are going on, so they come running to the spot. And in mid-run, they see the ecstasy on Subhadra. And so they know what's going on, and they all immediately go into ecstasy. And this way you have the form, Krishna and Balaram like this, and Subhadra has no arms. And they're all in this ecstatic state. Now, there are different, different pastimes about how this form actually came. So I'll share a little bit about them later, actually. I want to kind of go over, but just kind of know there's more to this story I just told. But anyway, so now we have this form of Lord Jagannath, right? And Lord Jagannath, what does he do? How is he so merciful? Jagannath means the Lord of the universe, right? So in Jagannath Puri, we know that there's a Jagannath temple, and we know that most people don't get in. It's only certain people who can get in. So in any case, it's very strict who can get in, who can't get in. So Lord Jagannath, he says, well, if people can't come in, I have to go out. I have to go out to see my people. And it is said that when someone is a little sick, what they do, they're sick, they go to the doctor, they get a prescription, right? They get better. So in this material world, we're all suffering from this material condition of life. We have all these different desires. And somehow we become fortunate as devotees to understand that, yes, I have this material desire. I should be seeking spiritual life. Let me go to the temple and see the Lord, right? Some people are so conditioned that they don't realize I need to go see the doctor. So what happens? Krishna comes to see them, to give them this medicine, this mercy. So with this Rath Yatra festival that we have, Lord Jagannath is coming out so that everyone can see him, right? And through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, actually now we have Lord Jagannath all over the world. It's not just in one location now. Lord Jagannath is coming everywhere. He has his big round eyes. He's wanting to see everyone. And so in this Rath Yatra festival, it is said that if you once pull the cart of the chariot, your life is perfect. If you once look upon the Lord, the form of Lord Jagannath, your life is perfect. So, being so kind, so merciful, we have Lord Jagannath here in Columbus, all over the world, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. So Lord Chaitanya, we understand is not different than Radha and Krishna. And in the mood of Srimati Radharani, he sees Lord Jagannath and he remembers the pastimes they had in Vrindavan. When he's addressing Lord Jagannath as Krishna and himself as Radharani. And in one prayer, he says, "Now I have gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was being burned by Cupid and was withering away." So this particular prayer, it has a lot of significance. You can speak on it probably for, who knows, forever. But on a surface level, now I have gained the Lord of my life, and in whose absence I was being burned by Cupid, withering away. It is said that if our minds are not fixed on Krishna, that we're basically like dead bodies, right? We're just kind of going around doing what it is we're doing, but there's no life, because life is, Krishna consciousness. That is life, right? To be aware of Krishna, to be in Krishna's association, that is life. And the devotees have some taste of that. They understand that true happiness comes in, this pleasure of serving Krishna. So, how many people in this material world don't have the association of Lord Jagannath? They don't know about Lord Jagannath. They've never seen Lord Jagannath. I traveled with Lord Jagannath deities around the country, and I noticed whenever our van broke down, which happens like every day almost, and apparently every van they had before that would break down all the time. But whenever the van would break down, we had these big side doors, so we would open the side doors and give darshan to whoever would come. And we noticed some people would they would see it, they're like, oh, and they would just keep going, who are these, Hare Krishna. I think they knew, but they wanted to avoid us. But other people would come, and they would ask, these things are so beautiful, what is this? And we say, oh, they're supremely beautiful. This is Krishna, this is Lord Jagannath. And, so many people would come and take darshan and, offer obeisances and just, never heard of Krishna before. And they were just fascinated. So, and while traveling, I had a lot of wonderful transcendental experiences that proved to me that Lord Jagannath is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was definitely, there to give his mercy to everyone. Because every time the van broke down, we would encounter some devotee. In the middle of nowhere, we would encounter a devotee. Once, I'll tell a story that happened when I was not there, years before, and I'll tell a story that happened when I was there. So, the devotees who traveled with Lord Jagannath, they had a van. I believe they said it was a black van with a yellow stripe, or a yellow van with a black stripe. Either way, they called it the Garanga van. And it broke down in the Holland Tunnel going into New York. And I don't know how this happened, but they broke down and they kind of turned, so they were blocking both sides of traffic. So there was no traffic coming in or out. They were just in the middle of the tunnel under the river. And so they called the devotees somehow, and the devotees got a Harinam party, and they came from the temple in Brooklyn. They were coming to the tunnel, and right as the Harinam party got close, the van somehow, I think a tow truck or something, pushed them out. And so they were pushed out, and Lord Jagannath met his devotees there with the Harinam. One time we broke down in I don't know where we were. I have no idea where I was. We was in the middle of nowhere. And we were there for hours, and we were thinking, we don't have any money, we're just traveling and doing Harinams. How are we going to pay for this to get the van fixed? And after maybe 4 or 5 hours, it was decided, let's surrender and call a tow truck. We had a very small sticker that said Haribo or something like that. Very small sticker. I never even noticed it. A Muslim guy rose up in a taxi. He says, Haribo. You're like, Hare Krishna. He had 10 brothers. They were all devotees of Krishna. He was a Muslim. They were all Krishna bhaktas. And he said, yeah, it's like, all my brothers are devotees, and so I'm going to fix your van for you. So he fixed it on the spot, and we were, back on the way. So Krishna waited 4 hours just for this devotee to come and have darshan. So in the same way, in Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya, as he's dancing before the deities, after he made these prayers, he started dancing before the deities, and the Rath Yatra cart. Who's been to Rath Yatra before? No, just in general. So we've seen how big the carts are, right? So in Puri, I don't know, I just watched videos, but the cart looks about as big as this temple, like the whole building. I don't know how big it really is, but it looks huge. So the cart was moving along nicely, and then Lord Chaitanya, he went kind of further ahead, and he's dancing, and he comes back, and he gets behind Lord Jagannath, and he's testing, well, is Krishna going to leave without me again? He's in his mood of Srimati Radharani. The cart stopped. They brought out elephants, they brought out the wrestlers, they brought out all these people. No one could move the cart. And then Lord Chaitanya would go in front, and the cart would start moving again. And so he kept having this pastime. And at one point, it is described that Lord Chaitanya placed his head on the back of the cart after it wouldn't move for so much time, and it started moving again. So Krishna, Lord Chaitanya was displaying that Krishna won't leave his devotee, right? We are, the pure devotee has Krishna bound up. We're pulling him with the ropes of our love. That's what the ropes represent, our love. And Krishna, although he is the Lord of the universe, he's bound up by the devotees. He won't move without the devotees. So, with that in mind, we have a unique, not a position, but a mission in life. We have to give Krishna to others. We somehow become fortunate enough to have Krishna in our lives to whatever extent that we are reciprocating with him, because obviously he's completely there. He's completely given himself, however much we give ourselves. But we have a duty. Once we join ISKCON, we have a duty to now give others Krishna, to try to cultivate Krishna in our hearts as much as possible, but give this Krishna consciousness to other people as well. And so there was one story I wanted to share about sharing nectar, right? Because what is it if we just get all of this nectar, we hear all these different pastimes, and we're chanting and we're doing so many things, but then we're not sharing with others? So there was a pastime that Lord Vishnu, he was with Lakshmi Devi, and he told her, just out of the blue, never give my remnants to anyone. She said, oh, no problem, I won't do it. The very next day, Narada Muni comes, and he had been serving Lakshmi Devi very faithfully for a few days before that. But the very next day, after getting this instruction, he says, he's serving her so nicely. She's like, what is this? What do you want from me? Because Narada Muni is a renunciate, and she's Lakshmi Devi. What is it you want? So I only want one thing. My life will be perfect with this one thing. And she says, oh, anything, just tell me. He said, I want the remnants of Lord Vishnu's prasada. He's like, oh, that's nice. Next, what else? What do you want? I was like, I'm not giving you that. What do you want? He's like, no, that's the only thing I want. So he's begging her. And what can she do? So, she was ordered not to give. So she said, I can't do it. And so she goes back and she's serving Lord Vishnu. And she looks very morose. And Krishna's looking, and he's noticing, but he doesn't say anything. And then as she's serving him prasadam, she's looking more and more depressed. Krishna says, what is it? Why are you so depressed? Are you not happy? I can't even enjoy my prasadam. You look so depressed. Tell me what's going on. And so she says, well, you ordered me never to share your prasadam, your remnants. And I agree, because it was not a big deal. But then the very next day, Narada Muni comes, and what does he do? He begs me for these remnants. And, so I'm not happy, because he's a pure devotee. How can I tell him no? But then how can I disobey your order? So Lord Vishnu says, well, since the Narada Muni we're speaking about, I'll make you a deal. If while eating, I look to the left or the right, just take the prasadam while I'm not looking. And so she made an arrangement with Garuda to distract Lord Vishnu. And when Lord Vishnu was distracted, she snatched the plate and she took it to Narada Muni. And so Narada Muni was ecstatic. He had this prasadam. He just ate it all up. It's like, I'm sure some people have done that. They got some Mahaprasadam, they just ate everything themselves. So he ate this whole prasadam, and he's dancing. And he completely is just out of his mind dancing. And he winds up at the top of Mount Kailash, where Lord Shiva is. And we know Lord Shiva is the destroyer of this universe, right? So he goes, and Lord Shiva's like, Narada, what's going on with you? You're like crazy right now. And he's like, oh, Prabhu, I just had a big plate of prasadam from Lord Vishnu. And Lord Shiva was like, really? So I know he saved me some, right? And Narada was like, oh, I forgot, Prabhu. He's like, we're brothers, you know, we do all this, we do bhajan together. How can you forget? He's like, well, I'm sure you have something left. Check your pockets on your doing. He's petting him down. He's looking, well, check your fingers. Do you have anything in your hands or your fingers? He said, no, I wash my hands. After I took prasadam, you know, why would I have dirty hands? And he started checking his fingers. Under his fingernails, he found a little speck of prasadam. He says, it's just a little speck. He said, that's all I need. So he takes his speck of prasadam and he eats it, and then he starts dancing in ecstasy. Now we know that when Lord Shiva starts dancing, that's when the universe is coming to an end. So all the demigods, they were like getting a little paranoid. Like, what's going on? It's not time yet. And so Bhagavad, well, Shiva's wife, she comes. She's like, what is the meaning of this? Why are you acting like a madman? And he's like, oh, we just had prasadam from Lord Vishnu. And she's like, really? Where's my portion? He's like, oh, well, I didn't think about that. And she's like, what do you mean I'm your wife? You didn't save me any of this prasadam. You could split it in half. He's like, well, maybe your mercy, maybe it's not time for you to get the mercy yet in this life. Oh, no. So he said that. She's like, but I do all the meditation you do, all the austerities you do, everything you do, I do. And I'm your wife. How can you not give me prasadam? You could have broken it in half or something. And so she says, fine, just forget it, you know. This is what guys do, we mess up all the time. So she said, forget it. So she goes to meditate. And she's very angry. She's meditating, and it says the heat from her body went up so high that Vishnu could feel it. And he was like, well, what's going on here? And he comes down and he says, why are you so upset? You know, what's going on? And she says, Lord Shiva and Narada Muni, they got all this prasadam and didn't share with me anything. And so I'm very upset. And Lord Vishnu says, well, don't worry, you know, I'll give you a whole plate of prasadam. It's okay. And she says, no, that's not good enough. It's like, I want all of my children to have prasadam. So Vishnu says, it's fine, you know, because she's thinking, okay, she has 2 kids, it's fine. But she says, no, not my 2 kids. Like, I'm Lakshmi Devi, you know. I mean, I'm Parvati, and I come also as Mother Durga. So everyone is my children. All of the entities are my kids. So everyone has to have this prasadam. So Lord Vishnu promised everyone can have prasadam. Everyone will have my mercy. And so this is why Lord Jagannath, this is one of the reasons he comes. So everyone can have the mercy. And again, you know, he's there in Jagannath Puri. Not everyone's been to Jagannath Puri. Not everyone's ever heard of Jagannath Puri. So how is everyone getting the mercy of Lord Jagannath? So this is the mercy of, you know, Srila Prabhupada and, you know, the pure devotees. They actually are fulfilling the benediction given by Lord Vishnu by giving everyone the opportunity to take this mercy of prasadam of Lord Jagannath. Another reason why Lord Jagannath appeared, or he appears before everyone, is because Narada Muni, when he saw Krishna, Balaram, and Lady Subhadra in this intoxicated state, and they were trying to put him up to the chariot, he saw them in this intoxicated state, and he comes and he asks Lord Krishna, he said, this is you know, so amazing what I'm witnessing here. And Krishna says, okay, what benediction do you want? He said, my only benediction is that you give everyone the opportunity to see you like this. So the devotees are always wanting to give Krishna's mercy and to give the mercy of Guru. You know, they're not trying to keep everything for themselves. You know, so we find that we have that in our hearts. We should try to change that. You know, we're thinking, I just want to keep everything for myself. You know, this is not the proper mood of the devotee. We should sacrifice, actually, in order to give others the mercy. But we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it falsely. This false renunciation, like, I don't want to do service, so let me pretend to be renounced. I remember when I was traveling with Lord Jagannath deities, I was in Potomac, and devotees kept coming and asking, "Oh, what are you doing with that?" "Oh, I'm going to wash the plates," or "I'm going to do this service or that service." I said, "Well, let me do it for you." I said, "Okay." And I did it. I gave them the plates to wash. I gave them this service, and at the time, for me, it didn't mean anything necessarily. It was like, okay, you washing the plates, it's nice, And then Krishna revealed to me. He says, "Think about what you're doing." So I'm looking at everyone coming, and they're just meeting me before I get out the door. They know when I'm coming out. They're there waiting, begging me for some service. I said, "Why is everyone begging me for service?" There must be some nectar that I'm missing. And so I changed my consciousness, and it was no longer that I was just doing some service, but I was actually serving Krishna. So then I became a little more stingy with service, but I was still trying to share. But I remember another time I was serving Dhanavir Goswami and driving him and doing so many services. And this is when I first got an email account. So a friend of mine set up an email account. I was checking my email, and we're in Detroit, and I feel someone massaging my shoulders. And up until that point, I never had a massage before. And so I was like, wow, this is nice. And I turned and I looked, the Dhanavir Goswami goes, "Oh no." And he just kept massaging me. He says, "Prabhu, when you're serving the Guru, you should do the service." And what happened was that we were in an ashram full of his disciples, and they asked, "Can I wash his laundry?" I said, "Okay, it's your Guru, okay." But he chastised me in a very sweet way. He says, when you have a service, you are responsible for doing it. Don't just give it away. Because who knows when you get the opportunity to get. Gosh, I have so many stories like that where Krishna gave me an opportunity to do service for him that I wasn't even qualified for. Once in New Vrindavan, Yamuna Devi came to me and she says, "Would you like to do some service? It only takes 2 minutes." Now, who's been around ISKCON knows how long is 2 minutes in ISKCON time? Just give a rough estimate.
2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours, okay. So that was what my mind said. 2 minutes here, right? But the moment my mind said it, I said, "No, surrender, surrender." I said, "Sure, I'll do a service." So it literally was a 2-minute service. She was being honest. But what was the service? The service was I got to carry Radhanatavar. Actually, this Krishna, I got to carry him and put him in the car because we were in New Vrindavan, bringing him back to Columbus. And I'm just ecstatic that I'm getting to do this service. I'm not even initiated or anything. And as I'm putting Krishna in, he has his arm out. Behind Radharani, he has his arm extended. Radharani's already in the car. As I'm putting Krishna in, he starts getting very heavy. And I'm like, "Oh gosh, Krishna, please don't fall onto Radharani." And then I see this huge shadow over my shoulder. This huge, huge looming shadow. When I turn around, it's Malati. So I started breaking out of sweat. I was like, "Oh my gosh," And then she was like, "Oh, thank you so much for doing the service." I thought I was dead, Another time I was serving Lord Jagannath, and we were in Butler, Pennsylvania, where Srila Prabhupada came when he first came to America. And so I asked one time, because we had, I think, 16 suitcases full of outfits, yet we wore the same 4 or 5 outfits all the time. And I said, "Prabhu, why does Lord Jagannath have so many outfits when he doesn't change to the different outfits?" And he says, "Because he's the Lord of the universe." So, okay, that's good enough for me, I guess. And so we're carrying him. We would go out, and each day we would come back and put Lord Jagannath on the altar. And I got to help carry Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram. And I'm like, wow, these deities are so big, but they're so light. And there might have been some kind of instruction with that. I'm not sure, but the next day we parked the car in the same spot, brought the same deities to the same altar. We had to take a break after carrying Lord Balaram because he was so heavy. And the Balaram was so heavy, we were sweating like profusely. And Krishna was just showing me, because I let you carry me, don't think that, I'm not the supreme personality of Godhead just because I'm in this form. So Krishna was showing that, he's always Supreme Personality of Godhead, regardless of what form he appears in. But kind of bringing this all together, understanding that Lord Jagannath is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Lord of the universe. He's the God of everyone, not the God of the Hindus or the Hare Krishnas. He's the God of everyone, every living entity. And because we are in ISKCON, we have a unique position that we are ordered to go out and preach. Now I've been asked to help do a service in Detroit. And the service is to, revamp the Rath Yatra on Belle Isle. So, as you know, some of you may know that Jagavan Prabhu, I invited him to come a few weeks back, and he spoke a little bit about this Rath Yatra in Belle Isle. And the Rath Yatra, the Belle Isle itself, Srila Prabhupada, walked there many times. And, so basically it's a place of pilgrimage for us, or should be, right? So Prabhupada came there several times, and the Rath Yatra was there for many years. And for whatever reason, they moved the Rath Yatra from there to another place. And so there is one devotee named Mother Rasa, who is an elderly lady, and from what I understand, she's in a wheelchair. So she's not able to physically get around. But for the last 6 years, she has been putting on this Rath Yatra in Belle Isle, all by herself. And so I was asked to come and help. And so my service is to broadcast to everyone here and ask that everyone here from Columbus try to participate in this Rath Yatra. And what makes it so unique is not just that Prabhupada was there, but that the people who come to Belle Isle for the Rath Yatra are people who are often overlooked, when it comes to so many things. But the reception that they have been given, devotees have been given when they go and do Harinam, is the most ecstatic. Right? People are very enthusiastic about hearing and chanting. And some are starting to come to the temple and different programs. So what I said that I would try to do is try to contact as many people as I can and have us come to Detroit. And so what I'm humbly begging is that devotees from Columbus go, and we can try to make this an annual project that we go every year, and really kind of make this a nice festival for the people there, the devotees who have forgotten Krishna, who want to reestablish that relationship. And we are making plans. We're making plans to grow not only the Rath Yatra, but to grow the preaching from there, Detroit, and spread it out, through all the different, communities, Ohio, different places. Because what we see, if anyone has YouTube and they go and they look at ISKCON Europe or ISKCON, any place outside of America, we see like how vibrant it is. There are some places in America, obviously, that have really ecstatic preaching going on, but it's not like it used to be back in the day where it was like we ran the world. It's kind of was like Hare Krishna and the movies and everything else, but we have the potential to make that back if we cooperate. Srila Prabhupada says, if we all cooperate and become pure devotees, we can make the world Krishna conscious in 16 hours or something like that. So we have the potential, collectively to work together and to spread this mercy of Lord Jagannath and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we have to give our minds to that concept, to that idea that we really want to preach, and we really want to make this work. And we don't want to keep the nectar for ourselves. We want to share it with other people. Because in this way, by us giving Krishna more, then we actually get Krishna more. We increase our love for Krishna, our attachment for Krishna, by sharing. So, I guess that's what I wanted to say on that. And I guess I can end here as well. It was almost time. So are there any questions or comments? Corrections? No? Okay, so will we go to 10 more minutes, right? Until the past time. Here's another prayer that Lord Chaitanya actually said before the deity of Lord Jagannath in the Rath Yatra. He says, I am not a Brahmin, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya, or a Sudra, nor am I a brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha, or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of the servant, the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. So Lord Chaitanya, he says that. We know that he's the greatest of sannyasis, right? And we know that he's Krishna himself. But he's given this instruction to us that we should always just strive to be the servant of the servant of the servant. That should be our highest goal, highest aspiration of life, right? And when we come to ISKCON, we're all under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Right? But we talk about the importance, sometimes we hear this, we should hear more, but the importance of taking initiation from a bona fide spiritual master. Now, I've heard a lot of reasons why not to get initiated. It comes down to, I don't really want to take it too serious. There was one person, we always tell the pastime, of this one devotee who used to live here. For so many years, she would only chant 15 rounds. And and we were like, you've been chanting 15 rounds for the past 300 lifetimes. Why not 16? Well, I don't want to take initiation. Because then I have to be serious. But like, you're living in ashram, you're doing so much wonderful service. You're already serious. Why not take initiation? So many times we hear family, parents telling their kids, don't join ISKCON because they'll make you too serious. And the fear, I've known a few friends from India when I was younger. They would join when we were teenagers, and they say, my parents didn't like it. And we said, why? Why not? They're already worshiping Krishna. Well, they think if I become, into this, I might become a sannyasi. I'm the only son. So, a lot of times people do just enough because they don't want to become serious. And actually, Prabhupada, he says we should chant a minimum of 16 rounds. It's not that we should only chant 16 rounds, right? So, there's a story that when Prabhupada first started giving initiations, it'd be like 64 rounds. And they're like, 64 what? How are we going to do 64 rounds? and this time, most people were just living in a temple. 64 rounds was like, whoa, that's crazy. It's like 8 hours. And so Prabhupada's like, okay, 32 rounds. And they said, what about work and this and that? 16 rounds, minimal. So, if we're doing 16 rounds, we are doing it minimal. It's not that we're, let me do 8 rounds. So sometimes we hear people say, well, just do 4 rounds and you're good, right? That's not the case. We can do 4 rounds with the idea that I'm going to do 8 rounds and continue to 16 rounds. But we should never say that, oh, just do 2 rounds and you're good, do 4 rounds and you're good. This is not the standard. And this is why the guru is important, because the guru doesn't give you things to kind of like let you just skirt by. The guru is giving you something because he understands that you're in this material world, you're suffering, I want to get you out as quickly as possible. If we don't have guru, we can never fully take the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Even though he's there, he's freely giving himself to us. Without the mercy of Guru, how can we really understand the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Now, we've heard, I don't know, maybe some of you watch Kung Fu movies. I haven't seen a Kung Fu movie since I was like, a while. It's been a while. But I think it's Kung Fu movies or maybe it's something else. But basically, the idea was that you have this guru, this master, and they touch you on the head, and now you have all the skills. Right? That's not the case. That's not how it works. Getting the mercy of guru, although in some cases it does. Like for instance, Dhruva Maharaj, he was touched on the head by Lord Vishnu's conch shell, and he was able to speak very eloquent. sometimes a guru does impart realization simply by being in their presence, right? So the moment's association with pure devotee is so potent. You may be chastised by the guru, which is considered the highest bliss. I'm fortunate or unfortunate I haven't been chastised by my guru. But you also could just be around the guru, right? And just being in that presence, you get a certain bit of Shakti, right? And so I remember having one of these transference of energy, I guess you would say, and it came in the form of chastisement for something that I didn't do. But I was being chastised very heavy for something I did not do, and I was thinking to myself, well, I know I didn't do anything, so like, why get upset about it? Just take it, just follow the instruction. From that instruction and from that, that mindset, I actually got a lot of realization on some things that I never thought I would have, would get realization on. And so, also I got the realization that yes, being around the pure devotee is very sweet. You learn so much. And so many times, because I was very fortunate that I got to serve a lot of sannyasis and a lot of gurus and a lot of advanced devotees from different ashrams, and by doing that, I did gain a lot of realization. And for me, I make a distinction between a revelation and a realization. A revelation is something that's revealed to you. It's like, oh, that's nice. A realization is something that goes deep within the heart. You change your life. You start to live by that. So what I understood was that through having a guru, not only are we officially linked up to the parampara system, but the guru can give you realizations even when you're not physically with that person. If you're trying to serve them, you're trying to meditate on their instruction, you're trying to hear from them, through the class, online or whatever the case may be, you get so much realization simply by being in that presence. Whereas if you don't have the association of guru, you might miss out. You might miss out on the mercy that Krishna is trying to give. If we didn't have guru in the form of Srila Prabhupada, will we really have Lord Jagannath here? Who would have brought Lord Jagannath here? Maybe Lord Jagannath would be here in some temple on a hill, and American people couldn't go, or maybe Hindu people couldn't go, or maybe only rich people can go. Who knows? We know the mindset of Americans. So unfortunately, there would be some credit card swipe to get in. So, because of Prabhupada, he came and he says everyone can get Lord Jagannath. And I understand that in Jagannath Puri, there's a day when anyone can go, regardless of your background, regardless of your habits. You can go up to the cart and you can actually embrace Lord Jagannath. Right? You can embrace the Lord. Like, you get to embrace the Lord, like even have that realization. So Krishna is so merciful, so kind, and the only way we get that mercy is through the devotees and through the guru. So I'm begging everyone to be representatives of the guru, and representatives of Srila Prabhupada, and to try to help to spread this Krishna consciousness. And come join us in Detroit, and I will have a flyer out so everyone can get the email to see the flyer on the board and know the date is September 16th, I believe. It's a Saturday. So please come, help give this mercy of Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya to the world, and now we understand Kirtan. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha, Srivasati Gaur Bhakta